Reeva Steenkamp was a name that graced magazine covers, fashion runways, and television screens in South Africa. Known for her radiant smile and passionate advocacy for women's rights, Reeva was more than just a model. She was a voice for change. But her promising life was cut short in a tragedy that not only shocked South Africa, but also captured global headlines. This is the story of Reeva Steenkamp, the woman whose life ended too soon, and the chilling events that continue to provoke questions and debates to this day. Reeva was born on August 19, 1983, in Cape Town, South Africa. From a young age, her charm and intelligence set her apart. Her beauty wasn't just skin deep. Reeva pursued a law degree at Nelson Mandela University, showing an ambition to make a difference in the legal world. Alongside her academic achievements, her modeling career took off, and she quickly became a beloved figure in South African media. Her personality was described as warm and vivacious. Friends spoke of her as someone who radiated positivity and had an innate ability to connect with people. But behind her bright smile was a fierce determination to succeed in every aspect of her life. Reeva wasn't just a model, she was an inspiration, often speaking about the importance of self-worth and empowerment. In 2012, Reeva began dating Oscar Pistorius, a man who was widely celebrated as a national hero. Pistorius, nicknamed the Blade Runner, was a double amputee Olympic sprinter who had shattered stereotypes and inspired millions around the world. The pair seemed like a power couple, both successful, driven, and admired by many. But as the world would soon learn, appearances can be deceiving. On February 14, 2013, Valentine's Day, the unthinkable happened. In the early hours of the morning, Reeva Steenkamp was shot and killed in Pistorius's Pretoria home. 4 gunshots rang out from the bathroom door, piercing through the silence and changing countless lives forever. Pistorius, in a panicked call to authorities, claimed he had mistaken Reeva for an intruder. But the narrative that unfolded afterward painted a far more complicated and sinister picture. The initial shock of the tragedy reverberated across South Africa and beyond. How could a man who was revered as a symbol of perseverance and determination commit such a heinous act? The trial that followed was one of the most highly publicized cases in modern history, with every detail scrutinized by the media and the public alike. During the trial, Pistorius maintained his claim of mistaken identity. He described a scenario in which he awoke in the middle of the night, heard a noise from the bathroom, and, fearing for his life, fired through the locked door without realizing Reeva was inside. His defense was built on the premise of self-defense in a country plagued by high crime rates. However, prosecutors and investigators uncovered inconsistencies that challenged his version of events. Reeva had sustained multiple gunshot wounds, and forensic evidence suggested she had been standing behind the bathroom door when the shots were fired. Disturbingly, reports also indicated that neighbors had heard shouting and arguing coming from the house earlier that evening. This raised the question, was this truly an accidental shooting, or was it a deliberate act fueled by anger and violence? The trial exposed deep flaws in Pistorius' character, revealing a man who had a history of reckless behavior and a fascination with firearms. Witnesses testified about his volatile temper and controlling tendencies. In stark contrast, Reeva's close friends and family described her as someone who believed in love, forgiveness, and second chances. A tragic irony given the circumstances of her death. For South Africa, the case wasn't just about one woman's murder. It became a reflection of the country's broader societal issues. South Africa has one of the highest rates of femicide and intimate partner violence in the world. Reeva's death became a symbol of these alarming statistics, igniting conversations about the systemic failures that leave women vulnerable to abuse and violence. The court proceedings were dramatic and often gut-wrenching. Pistorius broke down multiple times on the stand, sobbing and retching as details of Reeva's final moments were recounted. The prosecution, led by Gary Nell, systematically dismantled Pistorius' defense, emphasizing the implausibility of his version of events. Nell's cross-examination was relentless, painting a picture of Pistorius as a man who acted out of rage rather than fear. Reeva's family attended the trial every day, their pain and loss evident. Her mother, June Steenkamp, became a vocal advocate for justice and women's rights. often speaking about the need to honor Reeva's legacy by addressing gender-based violence. The world watched as the Steenkamps grappled with their grief while seeking accountability for their daughter's death. In 2014, Pistorius was initially convicted of culpable homicide, a lesser charge akin to manslaughter. The sentence, 5 years in prison, was met with widespread outrage, with many feeling it was a slap on the wrist for taking a life. However, after an appeal by the prosecution, the conviction was later upgraded to murder, and Pistorius received a 6-year sentence, which was subsequently increased to 13 years. Even with the revised sentence, debates persisted. Some argued that Pistorius's fame and privilege had afforded him leniency, while others believed the judicial system had done its best in a complex case. Regardless of these opinions, one fact remained clear: nothing could bring Reeva back. As the years passed, Reeva's memory continued to inspire movements for change. Her story served as a rallying cry for women's rights organizations and activists who demanded better protection for women and harsher penalties for perpetrators of domestic violence. The hashtag #Justice for Reeva became a global call to action, ensuring that her death would not be in vain. Reeva's legacy extends beyond the courtroom and headlines. Her advocacy work and the causes she championed live on, reminding us of the importance of standing up against injustice. She was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a friend, and a symbol of hope for a better, safer world. Today, the tragedy of Reeva Steenkamp serves as both a cautionary tale and a powerful reminder. It highlights the need for awareness, education, and systemic reform to address the pervasive issue of gender-based violence. Her story compels us to question the narratives we accept, to support survivors, and to never turn a blind eye to the warning signs of abuse. As we remember Reeva, let us honor her not just as a woman who died too soon, but as a beacon of light who continues to inspire change in the darkest of times.